When we got kicked off YouTube about a month ago, I mean, when we voluntarily, when both of us decided we should go our separate ways, and it was a mutual decision a month ago, the biggest thing I was worried about was just I didn't want anything to fall through the cracks, especially stories. And we'll talk about that more after this story. Let's just get to this story right away. I didn't want this, but it did kind of fall through the cracks because I kind of forgot about it. So this happened a couple weeks ago, New Year's Eve. A young Asian guy has a house, and he rents one of his rooms to one of the fellas for a night or two for $40. And next thing you know, there are 250 black people at his house tearing his house down. And when he walks out of his bedroom to say, "Hey, what are you guys doing in my house?" they threaten him and make him go back into his room. Wait till you see how this story ends.
New at 11, a homeowner's nightmare. 6 hours, one giant party, and thousands of dollars worth of damage in Seven Hills. A homeowner listed a room on AirBnB. A man rented it and invited hundreds of guests for a New Year's bash that went horribly wrong. Channel 3's Dosina Drakeford joined us now with the story of a party, a major pain, and police. Hi, Dosina.
Hi, Russ. Now, it is his first time hosting, and he already has a bad review. But the story behind it, a lot of anger and actually questions about who's ultimately at fault.
It's a New Year's Eve party promised to be memorable. Loud music, fun, drinking. But there's one problem. The party was thrown in a house that doesn't belong to any of these people. This is the owner.
Oh my God, that wasn't the thing that I expected.
He rented a part of his home through Airbnb, $40 per room, 5 people maximum. But
I was in my room and I heard the crazy music sounds going on. And when I came out from my room, then my entire house was just dominated by them.
According to the Seven Hills police report, the party drew hundreds of people, so many that police couldn't get to the house. It was blocked by so many cars. And for the sheer amount of people at this advertised banger, outnumbered, they had to call in additional departments.
I just expected, his family and girlfriend just coming over and just having like small party or something.
Not to be allegedly threatened, not to be left with thousands of dollars of damage.
Estimated $3,600, but the carpet specialist just came today and he said the replacing carpet will be like $8,000.
Police had to come in through the garage because there were so many people blocking the front door. And when the partiers left, they left a mess that he had to clean.
Not only to throw up gums, like chewing gums on the floor, I had to take that out, and blood, cigarette.
Police report they smelled marijuana, saw underage drinkers, witnessed people vomiting where they stood, and Lee says he didn't sign up for any of that.
For other people who are putting their property on Airbnb,
I don't recommend anymore.
Now, Lee was charged with a noise complaint, and he will have to appear in court later this month. The guy suspected of all of this damage. He's charged with disorderly conduct and charges related to underage drinking. Those charges are not official quite yet. Lee says he is planning to file a claim with Airbnb, and he thinks he might be able to get some of that money back, Russ, but I just feel like this story is just like a nightmare, like you said, for a homeowner.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the guy thinks he's renting a room out, everything's fine, I'll make a little money out of this, and then bingo.
All right, yeah, it's very unfortunate.
All right, Dosina, thanks.
A couple of days later, they had the requisite community meeting where they had the requisite delusion about what was really happening at this party, about this episode of large-scale black mob violence in their neighborhood, and they were looking around for somebody to blame. I think they may have arrested the guy or ticketed the guy who rented the room. Nobody else got arrested or cited except for one guy, the biggest victim of all, the homeowner.
I mean, this is not a little recreational party, people having a few cocktails, gets a little loud. This is absolutely Animal House, insane and dangerous.
Residents of Seven Hills speak out at Monday night's city council meeting to complain about a party that got out of control at a home on Shelley Drive New Year's Eve.
We had kids in the neighborhood. There was over 350 people in that house. Something needs to be done.
Monday, Seven Hills police arrested 20-year-old Isaiah Shaheed, who rented the home through Airbnb. They charged him with several misdemeanors, including disorderly conduct, furnishing alcohol to underage people, and criminal damaging.
And we received calls not only from the homeowner but from neighbors alerting us to the party at about the time when there was probably over 200 people in the house. So it was well out of control by the time we got the information to respond to the house.
The police chief says the homeowner, Sang-Myung Lee, was also cited for a noise violation and will also face charges for renting out his home without properly informing city officials.
If one rents their residence, their home, their real estate, it has to be registered with the city. And to my knowledge, this particular property was not registered as a rental property.
The Seven Hills mayor also says Lee faces building code violations for the number of people inside the home.
I had to send my neighbors a text and tell them, get your children out of the front bedroom because there was talk about guns.
We hear profanity as people in groups, in hordes, are walking down the street, screaming F-bombs, saying how drunk they are, how drunk they're going to be, what other things they want to do at this party.
Okay, I'm going to do something we don't normally do here. I'm going to read people's minds. I'm going to read their body language and facial language. But when they were talking about how they cited the homeowner, that young Asian guy just trying to make a few bucks so he can make his home ownership thing work for him, when they were talking about citing him for all these different infractions and violations of the law that probably the city attorney people even had to research, did they seem happy? Did they seem happy with themselves? Did they seem like, we got our victim. We don't have to worry about talking about who the hell was really responsible? Did it seem weird that no one's ever mentioned that this happens at Airbnb not infrequently? One of the fellas moves in, has a big party, and totally trashes the hell out of the house. How do you think people rent these VFW halls, Foreign Legion halls, American Legion halls? They go in and say, hey, we're going to have a back-to-school party. We're going to have a Sweet 16 party. Yeah, can we rent your hall? We're just going to have a few people over. Next thing you know, they're passing out flyers in the hood, talking about, who's going to be the DJ, what kind of sounds they're going to have, and how it's going to be a wild, wild night. Come on in. And if you happen to wreck something, who gives a big tinker's damn about it? Nobody. All right, let's finish this video with a little bit of inside baseball about what did fall through the cracks. So this was really the only one I thought video that fell through the cracks. We did it. Hooray. But as soon as I left YouTube, I started tweeting about it. I started posting it on Facebook. I started doing Facebook ads. I started sending out emails to my email list. I started talking about on the new thing and started telling as many people as I could about it. But even then, I still know a lot of people didn't know where we went. They didn't know what happened to us. I mean, I've gotten, between my Twitter, between my Facebook, between my emails, and between other venues, people, over 1,000 people were saying, Colin, where did you go? I lost you. So I answered every one of them. I said, hey, we're over here at minds.com/Colin Flaherty. That's where we're going to do our new videos. Is it as convenient as YouTube? No. Do you have playlists like YouTube? No. Are there other good things about it that are way, way better than YouTube? Oh, 100%. First of all, you don't get that overweening censorship. You don't get those anonymous emails in the middle of the night saying, oh yeah, Colin, by the way, you know that video you did about Atlantic Magazine? You know that story, that brilliant story Atlantic Magazine wrote where they said white people moving into black neighborhoods causes black criminality and it causes all sorts of bad things. Remember that story, Colin? Yeah, we're kicking you off YouTube for doing that story. So I didn't want to get any more of those emails. And I just wanted a place where we could build our platform, you and I together, could build this thing on a more permanent basis. And because that's really important for us not to be scampering around at, from from rented house to rented house, as if somehow the bank manager is behind us trying to collect the rent. So that fell through the cracks. And so here's what I want you to do to help this not fall through the cracks. If you are not subscribed to my email, just go on over to colinflaherty.com or whitegirlbleedalot.com and sign up for my email list. I send out something sometimes once a week, sometimes twice a week, sometimes once a month, sometimes twice a month. All depends what else is happening. But just sign up, because I think that's the way we become bulletproof around here, when we're permanently linked together via email. And if we ever do need to go back to YouTube for any reason, maybe like putting some of our old videos there, certain playlists, you guys will know. And if something weird happens at minds.com, we have to move over somewhere else, you'll know about that too. Anyway, so that's the only thing that can fall through the cracks. And it won't fall through the cracks as long as you're subscribed to my email list. Hope you'll do that, because doing that is pretty much guaranteed to make those black kids angry.